I'm gonna share my screen. Awesome. We'll wait a minute or two. I'm going to ask that if you can mute yourself while we're speaking, we will definitely allow everyone we'll allow everyone to ask questions. We'll pause between Donovan, and then we'll ask questions at the end as well, too. I want to be respectful of everyone's time so we can kind of get started. Thanks for joining us this evening. My name's Tracy Cesaretti. I am the Vice President of Events and Peer-to-Peer Fundraising here at Zero Prostate Cancer. I am joined by Donovan with Embark, who will introduce himself when we get to him, and then my colleagues, Brianna Athens, who will be your day-to-day contact. Brianna, if you want to say hi.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brianna.
And then Sean Kramer, who's our Chief Development Officer, is also on the call. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit about zero prostate cancer. We're going to talk about why we're climbing to the top of the roof of Africa. Then we're going to hand you over, because we know no one wants to hear from me very long. You all want to hear the real questions, which is, how are you going to eat on the way up and all of that. Donovan's going to walk you through the 8 days of hiking and how you get to the top. And then we'll come back to Zero for a few minutes of what you need to know on our end for joining the challenge. So who is Zero? Zero Prostate Cancer is the leading national nonprofit with a mission to end prostate cancer and help all who are impacted. Zero advances research, provides support, and creates solutions to achieve health equity, which meet the most critical needs of the community. Who do we fight for? So there are more than 3.3 million prostate cancer survivors in the US. In 2024, 300,000 men will be told they have prostate cancer, and from that, 35,000 men will die. We are currently waiting. The 2025 statistics should be out in the next 2 to 3 weeks. By the end of the month, we'll have the new 2025 statistics. So we'll obviously be able to, see the trends and what, where, kind of if it's changing at all in the right direction or unfortunately in the wrong direction. Black men are almost twice as likely to be diagnosed and die from prostate cancer than white men. They also are typically diagnosed at an earlier age, and 1 in 5 veterans will face prostate cancer. So what is Zero? So few of our goals are to reduce late-stage diagnosis, improve patient quality and quantity of life, and decrease mortality. And what is some of the impacts? So each year we bring about 150 people to Washington, D.C. to advocate on the Hill to increase the funding that the Department of Defense Prostate Cancer Research Program has. Since I started at Zero, we were at 80 million. We've been able to advocate to get it up to 110 million, and 13 plus drugs have come out of the research that those dollars have come to, that have helped men obviously live longer or be able to overcome some of the odds from prostate cancer. Zero has provided 4.75 million over the past decade to local programs for early detection, patient support, and research. We've helped pass new state laws in New York, Maryland, Rhode Island, Illinois, Oregon, and Kentucky to eliminate patient responsibility for costs associated with prostate cancer. That's copays, so that when you go to the doctor in those states, you do not have to pay a copay in order to have a PSA test. I heard this morning, actually, we've there's a bill on the table in Virginia and Texas were recently entered as well, too. They have not passed yet, but those are some of the states that we're working on this upcoming year. Our 0360 patient navigation program has provided 7,000 patients with personalized navigation and assistance, in essence, helping with 8.9 million in debt relief. And we've served 800,000 patients and caregivers annually through Zero's website, webinars, and patient support. So I want to welcome my friend Dan from Tolmar. If he wants to say a few words, we want to thank him as he and his organization Tolmar are going to, we found out recently that they are going to be our presenting corporate partner for this upcoming event. Dan, are
Yeah,
you?
I am. Yeah, thanks, Tracy. Hello, everyone. We're very excited at Tolmar to help Zero in this mission. It's very important to us that patients who are undergoing treatment for prostate cancer are kind of able to live their best life while they're being treated. And initiatives like this that are a little bit outside of the box, a little bit crazy, but a lot of fun are what we love to do at Tolmar. So we're very happy to be along and supporting the patients that Zero serves. And I'm excited to take another swing at Kilimanjaro here in September. So thanks, Tracy.
Awesome. If you guys didn't notice at the end, Dan will be joining everyone this upcoming September on Kilimanjaro. He plans to hike with all of our Peaks participants. And the great part of Tolmar's support allows that every dollar raised by you will support Zero Prostate Cancer's mission. There will be no overhead, that the money that you all are raising for us that will go towards the will not go towards any of the expenses of the trip. It will all go towards different programs that Zero is hosting. And then I want to show a quick video here. It'll also be included in the email we send tomorrow. I'm hoping the sound has worked every time I've done this before, so hopefully it will work again. But this is just a quick video on why Zero has chosen to bring people to the roof of Africa.
We're talking about living with prostate cancer or living with cancer in general, is that it's not enough just to live. We want to thrive. So at Zero, when I looked around a room and I said, yeah, we're going to take some people to the roof of Africa. When we are trying to be bolder and bigger and stronger, wouldn't we try and do something that's bolder and bigger than we've ever done before? And we really hope that what you'll experience is the power of community as you train and fundraise, the power of people pushing you to do things that you didn't think you might be able to accomplish, because that kind of empowerment you cannot get if it is easy. That power is unmatched. It's the very definition of thriving, not just surviving. Join me as we hike Mount Kilimanjaro and we tell cancer to take a hike.
And with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to turn you all over to Donovan. Hold on.
All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Donovan Paschal, and my background is I used to live on Mount Kilimanjaro more than 20 years ago at the highest village that borders the national park. I live and breathe Kilimanjaro. I live and breathe Kilimanjaro every single day. We plan hundreds of people's adventures every year up the mountain, and I have an amazing team that's going to help get you to the top. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to me at donovan@embarkexplorationco.com. We can have a one-on-one if you have any questions that we can't cover tonight. So this is Kilimanjaro. This is that view that you get to see from the top of your hotel when you're looking up and saying, how am I going to climb to 19,341 feet? The route we're going to be taking starts on the left-hand side of your screen, which is the west, comes around the southern side and kind of goes up near where the O is on Kilimanjaro to the summit. As many of you probably know, Kilimanjaro is one of the easiest big mountain peaks to climb in the world. It's still incredibly difficult, but it's a lot of fun. This picture right here is from 14,000 feet on Kilimanjaro. And what's amazing is you realize you have to go another 5,000 feet to get to the top.
Hey, Donovan, I think we're not seeing your slides. We're still seeing Tracy's on the screen.
And I'm trying to figure out how to make my slides not show. I have somehow lost the screen.
Okay, I will stop sharing.
Hold on a minute. There we go. I think you can do it now.
All right, thank you for telling me.
There we go.
There we go. That works.
All right, I'll just show you. That's what I started with. This is Kili. This is the picture you're going to see from the top of your hotel. And this is that image from 14,000 feet on the mountain. And here's a little bit about Embark.
Mount Kilimanjaro has an effect on this entire region of Tanzania. It's a rainforest. Ferns are 8, 10, 12 feet high, green everywhere. One minute you're walking in trees and they're dripping wet. The next minute your vistas are extended because the vegetation is lower. It's a huge mental and physical challenge.
I've climbed Kilimanjaro over 300 times. I like to share my life with people. I enjoy helping people, seeing their dreams come true.
His crews have always been well-trained, well-equipped, fully capable of moving a lot of people up the mountain.
When people book the trip, I start arranging, sorting out things. I have a list of all the things I need day by day.
There's a relationship that develops of trust, providing the experience and expertise that allow relatively unexperienced people to reach success.
All right, that's a little bit about Embark. You saw Freddie there with more than 300 summits. That was quite a long time ago. And you saw Jim, one of our lead guides, up on Kilimanjaro as well. So the one thing to know about Kilimanjaro is it's a huge mental and physical challenge. We have people all ages and sizes and backgrounds, and it's still a very, very difficult thing. You're going to be sleeping outside for 7 nights. You're going to be climbing to 19,341 feet, probably the highest you've ever been, ever. Eating different foods, hanging out with lots of different people. It's a huge mental and physical challenge. Over the course of the trip, you're going to hike 42 miles, 8 days, 7 nights. But as I mentioned earlier, Kilimanjaro does not require any technical equipment. We are walking up a big, big, big hill. This is the important slide. This is what the takeaway is you're going to arrive and we're going to take you back to your hotel. You're going to wake up the next morning, usually arrive in the evening the night before. You're going to meet your guides. You're going to we're going to look at all your gear and get ready for the next day. The following morning, we're going to drive to 7,800 feet and we're going to spend 6.5 days hiking up to 19,341 feet. And a day and a half down back to the hotel where we started, where you can leave things. And then you end. So that is 11 days, 10 nights you're going to need in the country. And I'll show you those dates here in just a second. That is September 20th to September 30th. That means the climb begins on the 22nd and ends on the 29th. And as Tracy said, we have in 2 groups, approximately 24 people, and I believe it's about 3/4 full, or maybe about 2/3 so far. So there's another kind of look of what to expect as you climb up the mountain, starting on the left-hand side of the screen, coming around the southern side. As you can see, average 5, 6, 7 miles per day. It's a lot harder when you're hiking up at 15, 16,000 feet. However, our biggest night is going to be really, really difficult. And it's going to be 4,000 feet up and more than 9,000 feet descent, which we'll look at here in just a second. So here where the red line meets the green line, that is at 3.5 days. So it's just going to take us 3.5 days just to get to the base. We call Kilimanjaro an approach mountain. So it's a big, huge, long approach, just like you're hiking maybe in the woods or the mountains in your state. The green line represents day 4, day 5, and day 6. Day 6 is where the green line meets the light blue line. That is our base camp. That is called Barafu Camp. And that's where we're going to stage before we go to the summit. The blue line, surprisingly, is only 3 miles long, but it takes more than 7 hours to usually hike in the middle of the night. And the purple line over to the top gets us to the roof of Africa. The ridge, it only is about an hour. We come back down to where we started in the morning. We usually eat and sleep for an hour, and then we descend down the light blue line. So again, the climb, it's 42 miles. It's a fully supported trip. An expedition style trip means you don't carry anything. We carry everything for you, with the exception of your rain gear and your water and any little things that you want for yourself. With a group of 10, we're going to have more than a 50-person support staff. Right now, if this trip ends up being 24 people, we will have more than about 110-person support staff. So it will be you, 24 people, plus 110 young men and women moving your gear up the mountain. Here's what a typical group looks like. This is what our group will look like. We will stage a picture like this with all of the people that are responsible for getting us up and getting us down. Mainly, we're carrying lots of food. We have to make 23 meals for each of you from scratch. We have someone who carries potatoes, someone who carries eggs. We have someone who carries multiple guys who carry coolers with frozen meat all the way up the mountain and back down. We carry bathrooms, we carry oxygen and all sorts of things on your adventure. Here's what a camp looks like. And inside a camp, you're going to have bathrooms that are our private bathrooms that we bring. For a group of this size, we'll have at least 3 bathrooms. We have our mountain hardware tents, some of our mess tents, and we're going to move up and down the mountain together. So as I mentioned earlier, what do you carry? You carry a day pack. As you can see, this group right here coming across the sheer plateau, which is not even to the base of Kilimanjaro yet. They're just carrying small day packs with their gear. However, your gear for climbing the mountain will be in a North Face bag like this. And inside that bag, this is your gear. This is your gear for 8 days on Kilimanjaro, coming in under 32 pounds of gear. If you're a specialist photographer or have some unique circumstances, we can get a personal porter for you to help carry your personal gear as well. But this is what you're going to bring up Kilimanjaro. So the hardest part of Kilimanjaro, I always say it's a series of day hikes followed by a 12 to 16 hour hike. One of the hardest hikes you'll ever do in your life, in the middle of the night, freezing cold, and you're going to start walking up that 3 miles, which will take 7 hours. In Swahili, we call it pole pole, which means slow, slow. And that is our philosophy on Kilimanjaro, is slow, slow. So with a group of this size, we're going to probably break up into 3 groups of 8. We're going to have a slow group, a slower group, and a super slow group. There's no rush on getting up the mountain. We have all day, every day to get to camp. So we're going to take our time as we make our way up. But once the sun comes up over Africa and hopefully we're near the top, we start to warm up again. We're going to get up to this ridge called Stella Point, which is not the summit, but is pretty close. It is at 18,800 feet up there, but we have to get over to 19,341 feet. We hope to be there between 7:30 and 8:30 in the morning, walking along that ridge and hopefully watching the sun rise over Africa. It's truly a magical experience. I've been up it many, many, many times, having worked on Kilimanjaro for 20 years. It is magical every time that I do it. As you can see, some little pictures here of some of the groups this last year on Kilimanjaro with Embark. As I mentioned, we live and breathe everything Kilimanjaro. Most of our guides have 300 plus summits. Most of them in our 50s, started as porters in their 20s. So we'll be here to sport zero all the way up and down the mountain. It's truly a magical experience. If all 24 of us do get up to the top, we hope to be up there something like this, watching the sunrise with not a lot of other groups up there as well. I'm going to show you a picture of what it can look like on Kilimanjaro. Not to say that your group will have snow, but this is another way to look at what it looks like on the summit of Africa. You hear the wind. Anyway, we hope to get up to the top. We hope to go stand by the glaciers if the weather is good. It's not a promise, but if the weather is good, maybe we can go over and be next to the glaciers. The hardest part is not only getting to the top, it is the 9,000 foot descent in one day that we're going to do together. We're going to start walking down the scree and we're going to go back to our starting camp, which is at 15,000 feet. We're going to sleep and eat for an hour, and then we're going to go all the way down to 10,000 feet to Mweka camp. Everyone always asks me, Donovan, why do we need to descend 9,000 feet in a day after just climbing? Because it is much warmer down there, under 10,000 feet, and we're in the trees, and you feel a lot better than you do at 15,000 feet. So how do you train? 4 months, 5 months, we have a training plan for you. Once you sign up for this trip, you will get a copy of that training plan and you complete your trip application. It's cardiovascular based workouts, running, walking, hiking. It's important to have multiple midweek workouts as well. I have a little copy of what some of those weeks look like here. If you can look, what you're really hoping to get to in the end is hiking 2,500 feet, 3,000 feet, 10 to 12 miles. This is a framework. This is not, you have to do this exactly. Most people do not. It is a framework for how to get to Kilimanjaro. Lots of people will probably ask tonight, Donovan, I live in Texas or I live in Los Angeles and it's flat and I don't have anywhere to hike. There's strategies for hiking without hills. Lots of our clients are from Florida and Texas and other places as well. So you will get a copy of this training plan. Again, the dates are this right here, as I mentioned kind of earlier tonight. And what we do at Embark is we provide comprehensive pre-trek informational material, gear list training plans, hacking videos. We have 2 conference calls 6 months prior and 1 month prior. And again, we live and breathe it. We're just not a tour company that subs it out. We have 9 full-time guides that work for us. Make sure to follow us this whole entire summer, even this right now, on Kilimanjaro on our Facebook and Instagram pages, and you'll see lots of people going up the mountain as well. So again, my name's Donovan on the far left, my wife Carrie right here, and the rest of our core team on Kilimanjaro right here. And so at that, I'm going to stop. I think I did it in a pretty reasonable amount of time, 20 minutes, and help answer any questions related to the climb. I'm going to call on
Questions for Donovan?
I'm going to call on somebody if I don't get any questions because I'm embarrassed. How about Todd Curry, who has an MBA? Todd, do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, sorry about that. That's a work account.
It's okay.
Well, so I'll ask you, it's been a while, but I've done some guided climbs and on smaller peaks in the US, and we'd usually stop every hour or so to kind of hydrate and snack and, self-care.
Yep.
So going through prostate cancer treatment, sometimes that causes some issues with our urinary system. So I hope this isn't too much information for all of y'all. And sometimes I find now when I go hiking that some days I just can't make it an hour. I'm assuming you guys are going to be like accommodating to that. It's just one of our side effects.
It's very, very accommodating. And because we're making everyone hydrate so much on this mountain, there's a lot of urinating all the way up the mountain all the time in very short periods of time. Sometimes the 3 or 4 liters of water that you drank during the day it comes out really, really fast. So yes, we are very accommodating to that. It is not a problem. There, is a bathroom in the morning. There's a bathroom when you arrive at camp, but there's not a bathroom that follows us up the mountain. And after, about day 3, there's less areas to hide behind and things like that. But yes, we can accommodate. We do have a bathroom at a couple times during lunch. So yes, no problem there.
And I guess you guys will help us with things like, how big of a day pack and maybe thinking through. I've never been on a that long of a hike before, so thinking through like what kind of snacks to take up and that sort of thing. But more than that, how much, given the fact that you guys are going to be providing some food as well.
Yeah, I mean, we provide all the food. Again, we make 23 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. People used to bring a lot of snacks. You can definitely bring some for sure, but we do feed you a lot all the way up and down the mountain. So, probably 2 small snacks per day. But yes, and regarding food, we can cater to most anything gluten-free, vegan, vegetarian, and we have a lot of fun with our food up on the mountain. We have a taco night. We can make pizzas. We've really refined different types of food. We do mix in traditional Tanzanian food, like ugali and things like that as well, if people are interested in trying it. But yes, and coffee and tea and water and all of that. I'm sure someone has a question about water today. Water is brought from, in Swahili, we call it a chim chim, which is a spring. We take all that water, we chemically treat it, and then we give it to you. So, and we generally have no problems with water in Kilimanjaro. Any other questions out there? You're happy, you can chat, you can type one into the chat if you'd like as well.
Mike, go ahead.
just looking for the root of everything here, the why. Why Kilimanjaro? Is it because you're specific to it? You've been there, you live there, you've climbed it 100 times, as opposed to, or what's, comparison to other mountains in the world, Everest, etc.
Yeah.
Risk factors, risk levels. I've seen anywhere from 50 to 98%. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, well, I actually do this for many foundations around the world, lots of large foundations. Kilimanjaro is a mountain that can be climbed by average people, and I would suspect that most of the people on this call are average hikers and average mountain climbers, and lots of people who have no experience climbing any mountain. So it's one of those rare ones where you can go really, really high and get that experience. It's iconic, to be honest. It's a little bit magical because of where it is and the people that support us kind of going up. So it just represents something also kind of going back to the mission. It's a huge, like a huge thing that has to be overcome, and the group is going to have to work together. I think a lot of you probably have shared experiences or some shared backgrounds here. And so it just represents one of those mountains that kind of checks all of the boxes. This is nothing like a Mount Everest, which is a technical climb. This is a climb just climbed by average people. So what we found, having done this for 20 years, it's a great, great starting point, and it actually inspires you to do some of our other treks as well.
No ice crevices. Just throw a ladder over and climb over. Right?
Nothing like that. And if there's any snow or ice in the top, we have micro spikes and yak tracks that we provide you. You do not need to bring them.
So it sounds like not necessarily, a pre-experienced climbing of it, say a mountain like Mount Rainier or Washington or anything like that. It's just having, working out, hiking week to week, running, working out, being active is a sufficient prerequisite.
We call this everyone's Everest. So it can be done by everyone. Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you.
This last year, we've took a few, I think a 12 or 13-year-old up the mountain, and I think 79 was the oldest last year. So that's the kind of the range of people, all who've made it to the top.
Thank you.
I see there's some questions in the chat. Is any gear provided from Brian? We provide the tents. We provide the sleeping pad. You can rent some gear if you don't have like a 5-degree sleeping bag. You can rent some gear from Embark if you'd like. It's a very, very nominal small fee to rent some of the gear. Most people bring their own sleeping bags because they have different styles, but you're more than able to rent that if you like. Some puffy jackets and some things like that. So once you sign up, you will get a list of things that you can choose to rent if you would like. Someone's hiked all of Mount Whitney and all 48 mountains in New Hampshire. Okay, hardest thing is the elevation accumulations. Yeah, so the hardest thing on Kilimanjaro is basically the elevation, getting used to it. That's why we've designed this 6.5 days going up. That's why we have a number of days where they're shorter than usual. But again, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get to the base camp so everybody feels good and can do the final 4,000-foot push in the middle of the night. And remember, you don't have to go to the summit. If you get to the base camp, you can choose not to go to the summit and go down. Kilimanjaro has a number of ways to get off the mountain relatively quickly. If someone's not feeling well, we have a number of trails that we can take people, walk people down, as well as drive people down anywhere before day 3.5. Anything else we'd like to cover tonight? I've got about another 10 minutes or so. Let's see. Any other questions tonight? We do, people bring their phones. Usually your phone does work on about half of Kilimanjaro. If there's limited cloud cover, then it works on half of Kilimanjaro. You can text often, you can call. We've been doing that for really long. We bring a big industrial charger so everyone can charge their phones up on the way up the mountain. And Tracy, is there anything you want to say regarding like the sign up or anything like that?
Yeah, here, I'm going to turn it back to my screen real quickly. Hold on. Oop, let's see. Okay, so the dates that Zero is going to be September 20th through the 30th. We are looking, the fundraising requirement is 12,500. That is dual occupancy, so that means that you will share a tent in a hotel room with someone. If you are looking to have solo occupancy, the fundraising minimum for that would be 15,000. We're limiting it to a total of 25 participants. We are, to what Donovan said, we are at 18 participants now, so we are limited. We are getting close to selling out this year's hike. If this year's hike isn't in the cards for you, we will quickly, Donovan and I are talking in the next week, 2 weeks about what 2026 will look like, and we'll get those dates out earlier for 2026. What Zero is providing. So Donovan obviously talked about everything that Embark provides, and why we partner with Embark is so that anyone can go up the mountain. You don't have to carry all the stuff. Donovan's porters and his team help make sure that it is just a small bag that you have to carry up. It is hard to find photos. I always have to go to Donovan when I want to show photos of what it's going to look like, because all of the photos online show these massive backpacks, but we're not looking at those massive backpacks. We're looking at that smaller day pack. So Zero is going to provide you with a 3-in-1 shell jacket, a hat, and a technical shirt. We are going to provide an airline stipend through working with our travel agent to get you guys to Kilimanjaro. We're going to provide, Donovan's team provides ground transportation to and from the airport in Tanzania. We pay, it's provided, there's no more park entrance fees. As Donovan mentioned, lodging accommodations, 3 nights in a hotel, 8 days of tent accommodations. All the meals while you're on the trail are provided by Donovan and his team. Brianna, who is on this call, is our dedicated fundraising coach and resource. So we will walk you through the process. To Donovan's point, Kilimanjaro, everyone can hike. Kilimanjaro is in every hiker's mountain. Fundraising, we have our team in places to make fundraising easy for everyone to be able to fundraise as well too. Even if you're new to fundraising, we always say a lot of the time, the first time you ask, you're going to get, it's easier than you think it is. We're going to work with Donovan's team. We'll have a comprehensive training plan, and we'll be sending out that week-to-week training as well too. So you're going to get lots of messaging from Brianna on our team. You're going to get messaging. You're going to work with Donovan's team on making sure you have all the pieces included that need to be included to make sure we get there. And you're going to be able to make that lifetime chance to climb Kilimanjaro and make an impact on prostate cancer. What is not included is you will need to bring cash for tips and gratuities for the porters. So we're going to tip Donovan's staff, who are, as he said, carrying the potatoes, setting up the bathroom, setting up the tents, at the end of the trip. You are going to need to work to get international medical and travel insurance. We'll have recommendations, but you will have to secure that on your own. Any money for personal expenses while in Africa, and obviously any money for any additional excursions or sightseeing you want to do while you're in Moshi, before either going, for the most part, not really going up, but when you get back, some people do stay and go on safari before they head back to the United States. What's next is, obviously you're going to commit to Zero to raise $12,500. There's an application on our website that you need to fill out that kind of asks some of the questions that we need to know. You're going to have to make sure that you're going to have to answer a question that says, yes, you believe your doctor is going to give you medical clearance to go. We want to make sure that everyone is safe going up. You're going to donate your first $250. So when you after you fill out the application and you get accepted into the program, you'll need to make a donation of $250. And then you're going to have to register officially with us, sign our participant contract, and then Brianna will turn you over to Donovan and his team that will then have you register through them. And then they give you into this amazing portal that has everything you need to know about going to Africa. You're going to obviously start your fundraising. You're going to set up time with myself or Brianna to create a fundraising plan that we are going to help you make sure that you get there at the time in which you need to, and that we're taking every step needed to get you to your fundraising goal. while obviously making sure you're getting the training in as well. And you're going to know that you're making a difference in the fight against prostate cancer. As I said earlier, thanks to Tolmar's support, every dollar raised will go towards supporting Zero's mission. So it's just a photo. Obviously, you saw this photo earlier. Any of these tents could be you, in September of this upcoming year. Questions for the team at Zero. Obviously, Donovan has a few more minutes. I know Carrie's on in case there's any questions that come up after Donovan has to hang up too.
I'll just throw in a couple things too. Well, I guess only one. Right now, of the 20 people registered, 10 of them are either survivors or actively have prostate cancer. And that's been a common question I've gotten from everyone who is participating, is what that looks like. So, if you're someone who actively has prostate cancer right now, you will not be alone. Half of the group right now, I think it's going to be about 50-50. And the other half is people who had a family member or have a direct connection like that. So just know if you have it, you're not alone. And if you're someone who is just supporting, we are also just as happy to have you.
Thank you.
Carrie or Donovan, there's a question in there about vaccinations and the visa.
Well, I will answer that, and I'm going to hand it over to Carrie. First off, it's not Donovan and his team. It's actually Carrie's team up on Kilimanjaro. So I'd like to introduce Carrie. She is my wife, and she'd be working directly with all of you. She's the true expert on many, many aspects of Kilimanjaro. And again, she and I lived 20 years ago on Kilimanjaro. So Carrie, do you want to talk about the vaccine piece?
I can jump into that.
Yeah, great. Hey, everyone, I got to jump off though real quick. It was nice talking to you. Carrie will answer the rest of the questions tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, so we do provide a comprehensive list of recommended vaccinations. It's not actually as, involved as you might think. If you've had all of your kind of regular shots as a person living in the Western world, you're mostly set. There are a couple that you might consider in addition to that, but are not mandatory. And travel these days is much different than, like when Donovan said, when we were living in the foothills of Kilimanjaro. There is no presentation of a yellow card of vaccinations that you need to present in order to get into the country. So yes, we do have our recommendations, but nothing is mandated as compulsory. And then there is a visa that you need for Americans traveling on a tourist visa to Tanzania. It is $100. You can apply for it in advance through their e-visa system, or you can just get it on entry with your crisp $100 bill. It will get you in. I was just on a call before this. Nobody in the 20 years that we've been doing this has ever been denied entry into Tanzania trying to get the visa on entry. It's very easy to go and get in. Any other questions? Did Donovan do such a great job that there are no more questions?
I can ask one of the questions that typically comes up as well too. So you're going to say, I've never fundraised. I'm worried I'm not going to get to the fundraising minimum. What do I do if I don't get there? So the goal to hit the fundraising minimum is September 1st. We want to make sure Carrie and Donovan and the Embark team knows exactly how many people are going up the mountain, so that as they're providing the supplies and feeding, getting ready to feed you all, they know what they need to bring with them. That said, you will sign in the participant contract. We have goals set that will help you get there along the way, so that you're not, what we don't want to have is on August 30th, you say, oh my God, I have not raised a single dollar. Now, how am I going to get there? We're going to make sure that you are raising money throughout. There's going to be a time in which we're going to set a fundraising call up with you. If you haven't hit a milestone, we're going to figure out what you need to do to hit that milestone. If you get to the point and you're, say, $1,000 short, you are either responsible for hitting that $1,000, and it'll come off of your credit card, or you'll be able to, make payments, or you'll be able to postpone, and then we'll take you up the following year when you're able to hit the milestone. Other questions for Carrie? Questions for the Zero team?
So there's so there's assistance along the way. You're helping guidance and raising money. But essentially it's like a Boston Marathon where it's 12,500. If you raise 6, you're responsible for the other 6,500.
Correct.
Is that right?
Mhm.
Okay. And the cost to do this hike is the money raising. It's not like an extra 10,000 on my side to do this hike.
Nope, the
Correct.
whole thing, we want to make sure it's inclusive of all, so we don't want to eliminate people from a cost perspective. That's why, thanks to, as we said, due to Tolmar's support, we're able to, ensure that we are able to cover the costs needed. So you're really fundraising your way up. You just have to pay that the 250 is your initial donation. It's also a best practice in fundraising that your thermometer on your website shows that you made the first donation. It helps make other people know that you're supporting the organization that you're asking them to support. So, it a little bit kills two birds with one stone. You make a donation to us, it allows us to capture your credit card information, and it also will definitely help you fundraise as you start to, fundraise as well too.
So you mentioned the website. Do you guys provide a website once you get to that stage too?
Yep, as soon as you register, we provide you with a fundraising website. You are able to collect donations through Venmo, through PayPal, through donor advisor funds, through obviously any of the major credit cards. It allows you to send it out to people. You can post it on, Facebook, Instagram. You can tell stories.
Yeah. So we're free to drive traffic to it any way we want.
Any way you want. So, I mean, we have one gentleman who is friends with one of the top mountain climbers in the country, and he's going to share his website out with other people and talk about what Zero's cause is. So, I mean, you can figure out ways to get to fundraise. Some people will have sponsors that will support them, and they're going to bring something up that says that, thanks to the Alaskan Railroad Company. I'm making companies up as I go, so bear with me. But the Alaskan Railroad Company, donated, and they're going to be like a patch on the jacket that they bring up, or they're going to, take a picture at some point and say thank you to the Alaskan Railroad Company for their support.
Cool, great, thank you.
Hey Tracy, I'm just curious, what video game is behind Jeff? I see an old school video game back there.
Oh, that's old Pac-Man. That's an old Pac-Man video game. I just had somewhere to put everything I had from the 90s, and it all got crammed in this room.
What other questions do we have? Awesome. So if there's not any other questions, what we'll do is you all will receive an email tomorrow from us that will have the recording of this webinar in case you want to listen to it again, you want to look for information. It will also have the application form that you'll need to fill out if you want to say, sign me up today. It'll have that application form. The one thing, we are holding our staff retreat next week, so I just want to clearly put out there, no one will be accepted until the week of the 21st, because we want to give people time if they want to have one-on-one conversations with Brianna and myself with any component of the program. We want to give people time to get any other questions answered, and then we will provide acceptances pretty much after MLK Day, and we're back in the office after the staff retreat. But I'm available tomorrow if there's questions that come up overnight, and we'll be sending you an email probably by noon Eastern time tomorrow with the recording from this info session. And thank you
I have
again
one
to our
question.
friends at Tolmar. Okay, hold on, Scott, go ahead.
On the website, when your personal link website, there you have to click see more. There's like a small link down at the bottom that says see more, and if you don't click on that, it doesn't show you anything. Is there any way we can get that changed so that when you go to the personal website, your information is visible? Because I don't think a lot of people are gonna click on that small see more, and then they're not gonna be able to see your personal story on that.
Yes, 100%. We will get that fixed on our end. Give me 24 hours and we'll figure out why that's not working. Every now and then the system doesn't update, and then all of a sudden we don't know that anything has been updated and it breaks something on the website. I can promise you it was not doing that a few weeks ago.
So I got a question about that. This may be technical, okay, but is the cart, the checkout cart, are we able to embed that on a page that we might create on our own, or do we have to check people out through your page? Or I guess hypothetically, if we had our own like Stripe and stuff, I'm just talking, we could collect our own funds and just turn it over to you.
You can. I will give the two disclaimers is if you collect the funds, we cannot necessarily give the donor the credit that they're going to want for the nonprofit,
Tax
so
deductions.
the tax deductions. But
we
you
could
will
do
be
that.
able to, and then we want to make sure that it's donated through ours because then you get credit.
Okay.
But you can send
yeah.
checks. You can provide checks or money orders, and that can be mailed to the office as well too. You'll just make sure you label your name, and we have a form that you can send with it because we want to make sure everyone gets credit for the dollars that they're sending in.
Great, thank you.
But you could host some people, Leo, who's going on the trip, has hosted a casino night and raised money, and then took all the money raised from his event that he hosted and donated it to his thing. So I mean, that would be a way to use Stripe, knowing that it's smaller donations at the time and it's more of an event type donation. Other questions? Jeff, do you have more questions? Nope.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
If not, thank you again. As I said, thank you to our friends at Tolmar for being our presenting sponsor of this event. And we are excited to hopefully see some of you in Africa in September. And we will be obviously in communication with many of you in between now and then. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.